Checking.
Welcome back to the Elevate series. I am very excited to introduce you to Renée Marino, who I'm actually just meeting for the first time too, though it does feel like I've known you forever, Renée.
It does.
Because like we are just two, birds of a feather, it feels like. And, looking at your content, looking at your impact in the world, the way that you are choosing to show up and use your voice and honor yourself and trust yourself, and then invite everybody else into that same experience is something I have so much respect for. I can't even validate you enough and respect you enough. So just thanks for having this conversation, because this is going to be a good one.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited for this. I have my coffee. I'm ready to go.
Girl. So you were just speaking on the Thrive in 2025 last week. Is that right? With Tony Robbins. What was that like for you?
Oh my God. It was incredible. It is such a blessing to be a part of Tony Robbins' team, Dean Graziosi. These are two gentlemen that I consider like mentors. Amber, I don't know if you know this, but most of my life, my previous career was as a professional actress on Broadway and film and TV. Yeah. So about 5 years ago, after I was doing my last Broadway show, Pretty Woman, the musical, just like the movie, during that time, I started writing my book called Becoming a Master Communicator. So like I do 8 shows a week, run off stage and be like writing my book. So when the show closed, I had this sense that I was ready to start a new chapter. I was ready to activate my other gifts. And all I knew was that I wanted to get my book published. I wanted to perhaps start speaking, maybe coaching. I didn't even know exactly what that meant. But then I saw Tony and Dean pop up on my screen on a video talking about this course.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, how to start your business. So I took the course. And literally a month later, the world shut down. So it was like divine timing that even if I wanted to continue performing, which I planned on doing, the world shut down. I wouldn't have been able to. So that's how I started my business. And the first thing I did was created a workshop on how to help business owners and entrepreneurs to get on camera and communicate on camera and be themselves. So just full circle, the reason I share that with you is because that was almost 6 years ago. I had always followed Tony Robbins, always listened to his programs. And then through taking their course, I just kind of immersed myself in their community. And like 3 months after that, after I took the course, about 6 months, I got asked to host their first ever World Summit. And it was just so incredible. So that was 2020. And then, we've all done our own things. And last year, Dean reached out to me and he was like, listen, is this something you'd be interested in? And every year at the start of the year, Tony does this incredible virtual event for free. And it was called Time to Rise. That was in this past January. Right. They asked if I was interested in hosting. And I was like, absolutely. So that I did that. And then that's what brought me to last week, then, hosting Dean's event. And it's so special for me because it is so full circle, right? So when I'm speaking to everyone on those Zoom screens and I'm talking about the power of really investing in yourself, like it's my story as well. So it really is so special.
Oh my gosh. I'm just so happy for you. This feels like fairy tale stuff. I mean, the divine protection and guidance, it's like it's all happening for you. And I'm really, really happy for that. And I believe that it's because you're showing up, you're leaning in, you're trusting yourself, you're trusting your gifts, you're trusting your voice. And that's when I think the universe conspires almost to support that, because that's where we're headed. You're modeling the new future, which I definitely want to get into. And before we do, I'm curious, especially because you were on that stage and you are plugged into quite a network. I'm really curious, what are you seeing that's happening out there right now? What feels different to you? Whether it's people, whether it's tech, whether it's something else you're observing, any details you can share would be helpful.
Yes, I'm noticing a couple things. Number one, people's eyes are open now to this idea of self-education, right? This idea of taking something that you know, your life experience, your passion, something you love, and saying like, wait, I can help serve others through these gifts. I feel like the traditional education system is kind of, falling a little bit into the background. And I think it's beautiful to see because as human beings, we all have such unique, special gifts. And by realizing that we can use these gifts to help others is just, I believe, what we're all here for. And I love, Amber, that your purpose is to help others feel seen, heard, and valued. Like this is why we connect so well, right? And it's so beautiful because that's what I'm seeing in the world now, that people like are opening their eyes to say, wait, I don't have to work for somebody else. I don't have to do it the way it's been done. And the second thing I'm seeing is that we have this incredible gift of digital technology. Now, I don't know if you saw my recent content, but I was just speaking. I was in Scottsdale. And for the first time, speaking of artificial intelligence, I got into a driverless car. I'm telling you, Amber, I almost peed my pants because
man.
I'm in New Jersey, okay? We don't have them here yet. So I was speaking, for
Oh
Aspire
my gosh.
a few weeks before, and I'm walking across the street, and what's driving toward me but a driverless car, and I freaked out. So and naturally I said, well, I'm scared of this. That means I have to get in one. So all that to say, we are being,
Right.
immersed in this world of artificial intelligence, all the complexities of technology, and it's such a gift. Yet what's happening is this old, what I call the old school way of communicating, of connecting, is being lost. And because of that, even though we have all of this up here, all this technology, we're seeing struggles in our relationships. We're seeing miscommunication in our businesses. And it's like, how can that be? We have more outlets to communicate than ever before. But the reason why is because we're forgetting to lean in to the one thing that AI can never replace, which is human connection. And that's what my mission is, to bring people back to that old school, authentic connection and communication, because that precedes everything else in business, in life, in relationships. And when we realize that, the world opens up.
Oh, absolutely. So I want to dig into this a little bit more because I was talking to an Uber driver, like 6 weeks ago. Everywhere I go, Renee, I'm asking everybody, like, what are you seeing? What are you seeing? And he said, well, I'm actually pretty sad about it because I've noticed that, in general, clientele treats me different. And I said, what do you mean by that? And he said, well, people just aren't very kind. Like they're more entitled. They don't tip me. In many cases, they are rude to me and they just expect so much from me. And it's just like, I'm here to give you a service. And I thought, gosh, that's sad. Then I'm standing in line later that day to go into this amazing French restaurant, and this woman turns around, about 80 years old, and she runs a local vacation rental spot. And I said, so what are you observing? What are you seeing? And she said, gosh, she was so shocked that I was even talking to her, Renee, that I would just say, isn't it a beautiful morning outside? And I would just get to know her. We're both just standing there. And she loved it. It meant so much to her. And she said, gosh, I just don't see that anymore. She said, people just are losing soft skills
Oh,
and they're retreating. And I think social media did play a part in this. I think our cell phones play part in this. I think just the sheer volume of shock and trauma and awe of all of this change happening so fast is part of it. But it does seem like there are two camps. It's like the people like you who are open and, outward and generating connection and goodwill, or there's a camp of people where you can have more miscommunication and misunderstanding, more conflict and tension. And it seems like they don't, like their heart isn't softened almost. Like maybe it was when you first met them years ago, but all of a sudden, for whatever reason, now there's more tension. So I'm just curious, as I bring that to you, what you think we should do in this environment. Is it that we just find our people and have fun with those individuals? Is this about alignment and micro communities now? Or is it something where just keep shining your light, and then all of a sudden it will infiltrate the rest. I mean, I'm just curious in your perspective.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Everything that you just said, I'm telling you, we might be sisters from
I
another
think so.
lifetime.
So thank you, Jess Andrews,
Yes.
for
Thank you,
hooking us
Miss
up.
Andrews. I believe that what we must do is be the change we wish to see. If we and again that's why I'm doing this. This is why I'm getting on stages speaking about this all over the world, because if we don't create the change, if we don't turn to that person behind us in line at the coffee shop and say, "Oh my gosh, your hair is so beautiful," when you really mean it,
When you
then
mean
slowly but surely, right? The world is going to turn into that hardened. If you ever saw the movie Wall-E, did you see the movie Wall-E?
oh, yeah, 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 sure.
Okay, well, it freaks me out because I feel like we're kind of all we're heading there. And it's like, in the movie, it's just everybody's in their own little robotic chair with a screen in front of them, and soda's this big, and everybody's isolated. And it's like, no, no, I will not. I will not live in that world. And that's why I do whatever I can, just like you shared. When I'm out and about, I am exactly who I am. I tell the person in front of me if I think that they have something beautiful like their eyes, I tell them. I make eye contact because I really believe we have to be the change. Because when I do that, what I notice, and I talk about this in my book a lot, Amber, I notice that more often than not, the person's like, wow, all of a
No,
sudden you see them smile, you see them light up. It's like that thing that they didn't know they needed. And it's
totally.
because at the end of the day, no matter how advanced technology gets, how much you think you could hide behind this screen, human beings were designed to connect. That's our makeup. We are
Nature.
human beings, right? So the more we lean into that, the more we be the change, we give others unconsciously the permission to do the same. Because I believe if we just let things happen, and you know what, if you're not going to make eye contact, I'm not going to make eye contact, then we're allowing the world then to shift in that negative way. And I don't know about you, but I don't want that to happen.
I
So
can't even imagine it.
yeah, I can, and I do, and I'll tell you, and it's what you told me about the Uber driver, it literally breaks my heart. Like I could cry hearing that, because on the flip side, oh my God, I can't wait to get into an Uber, or when I'm driving around, like talk with the driver. That's what I didn't like about the driverless car, is that I felt like there was a phantom person there. And I was like, wait, how's your day? Wait, nobody's there. Like it was so trippy. But on the flip side, you see the same thing. I mean, in customer service, the thing that really just boggles my mind is now you go into any establishment and you give your card, and right away it's like, well, what do you want to tip? And I love tipping. I'm like, I will tip all day long. Like I'm happy to do it. But what's um a little tough for me is when I walk into that coffee shop and I'm like, hi, good morning. Can I have a cold brew? And the person behind the counter is like, do you want ice in that? Yeah. Do you want to? Okay. And then it's boo, boo, boo. And then you put in your card and it's like tip. I'm like, tip? You didn't even look at me. Like you didn't even say hello. Right. So there's also this expectancy now on the other side that like, I don't have to do anything. I have to do the bare minimum. And it's like, what about forget about the money, forget about anything else, but just connecting with one another. That's
Mhm,
what we need more than anything.
mhm. So I was just interviewing Dave Moreno,
Oh my
like
gosh.
literally a half an hour ago. And he was talking about unreasonable hospitality. That's what you
Mm.
have to do in an environment like this. And I don't disagree. And I want to shine a light on the fact that I am actually an introvert that has learned how to be extroverted.
Yeah.
So, yesterday it was my birthday, and
Happy
I'm not,
birthday.
thank you. But I mention it because, there are people who like want to go be with other people and celebrate, and it's this big thing. And what I wanted to do more than anything in the world, Renee, was go on a hike in the mountains by myself,
Yep.
because I just needed to like recharge my batteries because, of the introversion.
Oh yeah.
I want to share that because I think there are a lot of people, at least in my community, who are more introverted in nature. And so they get drained easily by putting themselves out there and by looking people in the eyes potentially, or like striking up those conversations, even if they see the value in it. And even if it is life-giving to them in some ways, but I'm just curious what you might want to say or contribute around that. Like for people who have a harder time innately going out and being extroverted and gregarious and networking and all of those things, do you have any tips for them on how to protect their energy, grow their energy while then doing this unreasonable hospitality or human connection?
Yes. And I identify that with that so clearly because I think, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love people. I think I'm what they call an extroverted introvert. So I'm that
Mhm.
person, like I love people, I love being around people, but I need to recharge. Like I need to come back, sit with myself, like you said, like meditate, go on a walk. Like I love being alone. I love eating by myself, yet I love people. So for
Right?
anyone
Okay.
yeah, oh my God, 100%. Now, don't get me wrong. I have friends who literally are 100% extroverts. Like they don't need any alone time. They're like, the more people, the more time, the more better. I'm like, oh, no, 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 no. I need to recharge my battery. So for those of you who do identify as introverts and you're like, this isn't easy for me, that's okay. And I want to preface this by saying we live in a world right now of so much overstimulation, and our brains are not designed to take in all the information that's being thrown at us. They're just not. So even for someone like me who is more of an extrovert, it's so overwhelming for me. Like to the point that some days I'm like, what happened to me? Like I used to, you know what I mean? Like love,
I do.
like talking to people all the time, but I'm like, what's going on? But it's because it's too much overstimulation. So, number one, honor yourself. That's okay. But that means if you know you're going out to a networking event or you're going out to have a conversation, take that time beforehand to what I call the step one of communication is have that communication with yourself. Sit with yourself, take pen to paper. A simple practice I give when I'm speaking on stages to all my clients. When you wake up in the morning, I feel like the most precious time, right? Because that's kind of what activates your whole day. Instead of rolling over to your nightstand to grab your smartphone, check your emails, right? Activate your
Stressed
brain.
out.
Leave it to the side and ask yourself one question. How am I feeling? And then take 5 to 10 minutes, put pen to paper. Now, why am I saying write and don't type it in the notes app on your phone? Because cognitive scientist Daniel Willingham has noted students remember what they think about. And when they're writing, they're thinking about formulating the letter that formulates the word, that formulates the sentence, thus giving them a deeper understanding of that information. And in this case, it gives you a deeper understanding of yourself and what's going on within. And what you're doing is you're charging that battery, right? It's like how you charge your phone at night. That way, when you open up your bedroom door and it's time to communicate with your family, you walk about the world, you go to these networking events, you're now feeling more grounded and aligned because you've taken the time to connect with the most important person in your life first, you.
Wow. I love that. That's really helpful that you articulated that because I've wondered why I'm such a note taker. I mean, I'm constantly writing when I'm engaging in conversation, no matter where I am, I'm handwriting all over the place.
All over.
But it
Yep.
really helps me to process, to remember. And I loved what you said about how it helps you understand yourself even better when you're processing. So that was really valuable. I would say that a big theme that I think is happening inside of the Elevate series is that people are saying now is the time to simplify. And
Yes.
now is the time to really build authentic, meaningful connection with fewer people that you want to be really intentional about growing with in the future. That, especially because of the rise of AI, it's going to be about the network that you belong to. And I know a lot of entrepreneurs, I know,
Amen.
feel it too. Um, but that was a big driver behind the Elevate series because I had other plans for the month of May. This was a very time consuming thing to host.
Yeah.
But what I felt was like, gosh, instead of all of this disconnection and people being alone to their own devices trying to figure it out, like the number one thing I can create is belonging. And say, if you don't have a place that you can go to where people really understand you and the unique challenges that you have, like every entrepreneur.
Yes.
Like, come over here. It's
Yeah.
a space of like like-hearted, like-minded, aligned community that want to be better together. They
Yes.
want to share resource. They want to collaborate and brainstorm. And that's really what I'm building, is that community. And it's free. Like, I'm not even trying to be transactional about it. I just want people to feel like they have a place to go. So that's part of my advice for those that are more introverted. It's like, go find your people. And it doesn't have to be a massive audience. It can be a room full of 3 people, if it needs to be. But finding that place that you can go to is going to be important. And the other thing that I would say is that one of the ways I sort of cope in bigger environments is I have an avatar that I created like 17 years ago, Renee. Her name is Heather. And I know everything about Heather, and everything I do is for Heather. So last summer, I walked out on a stage in front of 2,000 business owners that all had their own franchise across like 15 different franchises. It was an incredible opportunity. And in that moment, the introvert in me would have practically died. I mean, like,
Yep. Yep.
that was a lot of stimulation, a lot going on, especially because I had some outdated beliefs that I've been course correcting that said, when you're seen and heard, bad things happen, right? So here I am on this stage. And what it took for me was to recognize, like, this isn't about me in this moment. This is about them. And I'm going to do this specifically for Heather and Heather alone. So as I was looking out on the sea of people, I saw Heather in every single person that I was speaking to. And it allowed me to almost tap into this natural place that was so abundant. Like, this energy was just flowing. And I was able to leave that stage not feeling like I wanted to curl in a ball and hide for the next week to recover from it. But actually, it was really life-giving to me.
Mm.
So I share that with those of you in the audience, because you might be in a position right now where you think, I'm nervous to go into conferences or even social media. It feels overwhelming. There's so many people, there's so much noise. It doesn't have to be that way. If you do it for one person, you can do it for one person and harness your energy and your natural openness and heart to serve that individual, even through social media. And you'll be fine. You'll be able to get your light out in the world in the way that Renee is. And you'll be able to experience like everything you came here on this planet to experience. So just had to, couldn't help it. You tapped my passion button, Renee.
I love that. And Amber, that's such a beautiful point, because it's so common, right? They say like public speaking is the number one fear. I mean, it's no matter who you are. I mean, I feel the nerves all the time, but what I always teach is nerves is just excitement with a different label, right? Like, think about when you're excited about something. What happens? Your mouth goes dry. You forget what you're going to say. Your heart's beating out of your chest. So if you can just attach a different label to it and flip the script in your brain, just like, all right, I'm getting on the stage, or I'm going to have this conversation. Here we go. And you treat it like excitement. It's a different now perspective. And the second point that I'd love to bring up is what you shared about creating that avatar. What I teach is, I have my Connecting on Camera course. And what I teach is when you speak to the camera. So for those of you who are like, Renee, I do not want to get on social media. I don't want to do videos, right? Like, just
most people.
yeah, you are not alone, number one. And if you can just think, when you are looking at that camera lens, you place the person that you are most comfortable with in your life, whether that's your significant other, your child, your best friend, right? Place them there and speak to them. That person that when you connect with, all your defenses go down, and picture them there. Because then when you press record on the camera, you're just having that conversation. You're bringing your real self. You're not trying to put any filters on. And it's such a great practice. And you can start practicing with your camera phone, right? With your smartphone, press record, put it on a windowsill and speak to that camera and get used to it. And this is a beautiful way to start to train yourself to focus more on what you're giving and not on yourself. Because that's like what you just shared, Amber. That's where we get tripped up, right? We're thinking so much about, like, I don't want to, even in just a regular conversation, I want to sound like the expert. So I don't want to sound stupid. So as Amber's talking, I have to make sure I nod my head. And the whole time I'm not even listening, right? I'm missing out on everything. But if I as I am now, I'm thinking like, I just want to serve. Hopefully I help one person who's listening, or 10 or 20 or 500. Like I want to share this information because I know that this is so valuable and this can really help you to elevate in your life, in your business. When I think of that and I seek to understand instead of be understood, everything changes, right? And all of a sudden, everything we're concerned about goes away. So I love that you shared that. And it really is so important because it will change every conversation you have, every time you speak on a stage, every time you present, you make it about them and not you. All of a sudden, all those fears go out the window.
It's 100% true. I mean, I'm living the experience of it right now.
Yes.
Okay, so I know, gosh, time goes so
I know,
fast, right?
right?
Like, why does it go so fast?
Because we're having fun. That's why.
Okay, so I want to talk about the future for a minute, because we're having this lived experience right now. There's a lot going on, in every industry I can even think of, and I'm curious, what is Renee doing to make a move in the next 5 years? Like, where do you think we're all headed? What are you doing to prepare, or maybe you've heard of other people and what they're up to in the world. So, any nuggets you want to share around that?
I believe the world, it's like a pendulum, right? Things go so far one way and then they have to come back the other way. And
Mm.
I believe that this idea of bringing it back to simplicity, that's where we're going, right? It You can only spend so much time behind a screen. You can only spend so much time just texting and emailing. We see it already starting to happen. People are craving community. People want to spend their money on experiences. So for me, I'm leaning so far into this idea of bringing people back to simplicity, to that human connection. And it's what we just spoke about before, those little things, being out and about, keeping my head up and out in the world, putting my phone away and out of sight. This is an amazing study, Amber. There's a study done called the iPhone effect that looked at two people in a conversation with a cell phone present. Even though neither person picked up the phone, neither person looked at the phone, still that phone proved to be a distraction. So,
That makes sense.
right, put your phone out of sight. And I don't mean like when you're in a conversation, just flip it so you don't see the time. I mean, like, put it out of sight because inevitably you're going to elevate that conversation. You're going to let that other person know that they're seen, they're heard, they're understood. And because of that, what are you doing? You're building connections. So that is what I'm doing to prepare. I am leaning in to sharing this message of authentic communication and connection because there are enough people out in the world right now talking about the latest AI tools, the latest systems, tools, processes. That's all great, but at the end of the day, I believe everything starts with communication. And when you learn to master this skill, you become limitless. So it's about just bringing us back to that human connection.
Yep. And I'm going to even add on that to say that what I really want, I mean, if I could just take a second, I just want people to feel like they can fully self express.
Oh,
I want
yes.
that I want that so much for people, Renee. Like, because I've spent so much time in my life, hiding behind what I thought I should be or what other people wanted me to be. I was subjugating my power. I didn't know better. This is just the way that I was raised and what I learned through observation. Um, and it was really when I was approaching 40 that I thought, this is exhausting.
Yeah.
This is so exhausting to hold all of this up all the time. And there was a part of me that was just like crying inside to just lay it down and just to be. And I started like daring to say what I really wanted to say, in little ways. I mean, I don't even think that the rest of the world knew or noticed, but like to me, it was
Yes.
monumental. And
Yeah.
now, I'm at this place where it's so it's gosh, it's just so nice to feel like I don't have to hold that persona up and hold everything up in that same way. It just wasn't sustainable. And so I'm really hoping that through this, honestly, this vision that we both have for how people can connect, I think it's really important that it starts with you just willing to lay down your guard and
Yeah.
to just be open and share what you really want to say. And, I have found it so interesting in this time of doing this. When I share what I really want to share, it instantly melts people. And they're like, I feel the same way. And if anything, it just creates that connection so much faster. And it started to build my confidence of like, maybe I do have value that I didn't realize, or maybe, these are important points to share forward. So I just want to kind of echo that, because I know that it's really hard for a lot of people to trust in a moment like this, where you and I are seemingly on top of the world doing all this cool stuff. And it seems so easy for us. And I can just imagine some of the viewers like wanting to dare to try to open up and just share and trust that people will be responsible with their heart. But my lived experience is that when you do that, everything gets so much better, so much richer, so much more colorful. Like, it's really worth it.
Oh, Amber, so you'll love this. You'll love this. So step 2 of my, what I call my 7-step connect method. Step 2 is O, it's an acronym. Own who you are.
Mm.
And this is exactly what you're speaking about. The parts of ourselves that we often want to hide the most are the ones that connect us with others the most. And when we realize this and we lean into those vulnerabilities, what we do is we let others know 4 of the most powerful words the human spirit can hear and understand. You are not alone.
That's
And,
a fact.
and
Yes.
and let me tell you, Amber, and I'm sure you can agree with this. When there's someone that I admire on social media, maybe speakers or other performers that I've seen, and they share something that's so real and raw, I deal with anxiety, or I've experienced depression, or I questioned who I was. All of a sudden, I feel this sense of peace, like, oh, I'm not alone. Like, they don't have everything together, right? We all always assume, oh my gosh, they have it all together. People, like you said, some of the viewers may be watching you and I, and they're like, oh, look at them. They have it all together. Please, you guys should know. These days I am crying in my bedroom. If you know, I mean, what I've gone through in my life, and the loss and the grief and oh my gosh. And that all happened. I mean, so much loss happened the minute I decided to start my own business. I mean, it's crazy. So I just say that because one of the most beautiful things we can do is lean into our vulnerabilities and own who we are, because we're not highlight reels. We're not just the curated photos and the great videos and like me running on the beach and laughing. Like, that's great. That's maybe a part of our lives, but we are human beings. And no matter who we are, from what part in the world, we all experience the same emotions, similar thoughts, maybe different circumstances, but it's part of the human experience. And I think it's time that we reveal that. The world's craving it, right? We've seen enough of just the curated images and photos and ideas, right? And now AI does that for us. But it's time to like really lean into, you know what? I have this struggle. You know what? I'm an introvert. You know what? I experience anxiety sometimes. And by doing that, we give other people permission to let their guard down as well.
Which is why I, on an ending note, just want to say, be kind to one another.
Oh my goodness.
Everywhere you go, please be kind to one
Because
another.
everyone's fighting a battle you know nothing about. And it's one of my favorite quotes by Wendy Mass, like be kind, for everyone's fighting a battle you know nothing about. And this goes back to what we talked about earlier to close this out. When you're standing online to get your coffee and you keep your head up and about, and you take notice of the people around you, and you notice something maybe really wonderful on the person in front of you, and you let them know, you, by giving that sincere compliment, you may be pulling someone out of the one of the most toughest moments of their life. They could be mulling on if their life is worth living. They could be thinking that, you know what, nobody cares. And just by offering that sincere compliment, you can change the whole trajectory of their life. You have no idea.
I think we need to end, because I feel like I'm going to start happy crying,
I
and we
know.
don't need to do that live. Renee, what a blessing. What a blessing. Thank you again to Jess Andrews, my COO, for helping to connect us. I just needed you today. I appreciate it. Thank you for breathing such beautiful life into this community. And this is not the last time you're going to hear about Renée from me. So
Oh,
we'll make sure to link out to your book and encourage you on any of my stages that you ever want to be on. You can come on all of the stages, and definitely want to build our relationship. So thanks again for your time.
thank you, Amber. This has been such a gift. Seriously, I feel lit up like a Christmas tree. Thank you for starting my Wednesday on such a beautiful note.
Yes, thank you. All right, guys, we are back tomorrow with Dr. Sean Dill and Dr. Lacey Book. You don't want to miss that conversation. Thank you so much for sharing the Elevate series with anybody in your entrepreneurship circle, because this information has to get out to help more people. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you.